Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. This is Dave and today we'll be unboxing the first ever iPhone, the iPhone 2G from 2007. Now of course the phone isn't brand new or sealed since those cost over $40,000, if you can even find one. I recommend MKBHD's video where he unboxes a sealed one. That, as I said, cost over $40,000. But back to our video, you can see that the phone is in a plastic tray. Now of course Apple would never use plastic in their packaging today, but in 2007 things were quite different. Inside the envelope we have fingertips, which is basically a roadmap style user guide that explains every function of the iPhone. And yes, such a guide was very much needed back in 2007 since this was completely new territory for any phone user. Keep in mind, smartphones in 2007 used to look like this. And this. We also have some regulatory information and the Apple stickers that were actually askew and not straight. We also get the original charger, but mine is missing the wall adapter. And you also get a docking station in the box, which had a headphone jack for your headphones or speakers. And of course, the USB to 30-pin cable. Turning the phone on, you can see iOS 3.1 in its entire glory. No widgets, no notification center, no control center, nothing. Just the basics here. So the iPhone 2G, an important piece of Apple history, probably one of the most important products that Steve Jobs ever released. The screen was 3.5 inches in diagonal, which is very small for today's standards, but was considered very large for 2007, and only had a home button on the front, again, compared to other smartphones of the time, which had full keyboards. I really wanted to do a review of the iPhone 2G in 2025. But I was thinking to myself, how could I possibly review the iPhone 2G in 2025 given that none of the existing apps work and I can't download any new apps, and I'm definitely not going to bore you with a history lesson on how the iPhone 2G got launched or whatever. So here's what I'll do instead. I'll take my personal SIM card, I'll put it in the iPhone 2G tonight, and tomorrow for an entire day I'll only use the iPhone 2G as my main device. So let's see if I'll survive, and I'll see you tonight. So I was just about to go to sleep because it's almost 11 o'clock and I thought I would insert my SIM card in the phone to have it ready for tomorrow morning. But take a look at this. I completely forgot. So the iPhone 2G still uses the original SIM card, and for that I'll need not one, but two adapters. Alright, and now for the moment of truth. Oh, and by the way, I'm completely expecting this to not work at all, since most of the 2G and Edge networks have been taken down across the world, but let's see. Oh, and look at that. Look at that. Do you see it? Orange, full signal. I cannot believe it. I'm genuinely surprised. Wow, and it says E for Edge, of course. So I'm just calling my wife to see if this actually works. So, okay, I just called my wife, she's across the room. Well, she's in the other room, but this actually works. I cannot believe it. So, okay, I guess we're ready to go. Well, ready for tomorrow. So with the iPhone in its charging dock, I went to sleep. So it's the next morning and the phone is fully charged. I made a coffee and I wanted to catch up on some news, but sadly, cellular data wasn't working. The network was only working for calls and text messages. Okay, no problem, I'll get on Wi-Fi. But no, the version of Safari from iOS 3 is way too outdated, and you can't browse any web page. I took a few photos of my daughter, and of course the camera quality is bad. It was quite bad for 2007 standards, but for 2025 it's almost unusable. I went to drop off my daughter at my mom's place, as both me and my wife had a busy day ahead. I called my mom to let her know that I'm on my way, and that worked just fine. And when I asked her how the call quality was, she said, "Oh yeah, now that you mention it, you do sound a bit far away and quieter than usual. But it's okay." After that, I went to our local coffee shop and ordered a cappuccino and fully enjoyed it, since there wasn't anything else I could do. No doom scrolling or wasting time on Instagram. I did, however, try to pair some old AirPods 2 to the iPhone, which was successful. I even got the icon for the original iPhone Bluetooth headset up in the menu bar, but sadly I could only use the AirPods for calls. No music streaming, since it was not supported by the first iPhone. Or at least I didn't manage to get it working. I took a photo of the coffee, and I must say, even if the photo quality is bad, I do like the vintage look of these photos. It was past 9 AM and the phone was still on full battery. I then went to check the weather because it was starting to get very hot, and of course that didn't work either. I then got a phone call from an unknown number, which turned out to be one of my friends checking up on me, but since I have all my contacts in my Google account and I can't add that to the iPhone, I had no contacts. We spoke for about 15 minutes, and I must say the call quality was solid. I had no complaints from the other end. I hopped in my car to run some errands, but as expected, I couldn't use my MagSafe phone holder, since the iPhone 2G does not support MagSafe. Navigation was also a no-go on the phone, so for any trips out of town, I would have had to rely on my car's built-in GPS. On the plus side, I was able to connect it to the car's Bluetooth for calls, which worked flawlessly. But once again, no music streaming, no Apple Music, and definitely no CarPlay. I did some shopping, and of course I couldn't pay using the iPhone 2G since it has no Apple Pay, so I had to use my physical credit card, just like in the good old days. Once I got back home, I sat down to get some work done. And I hope this isn't considered cheating, but I replied to my messages on WhatsApp and Slack, just to reassure everyone that I was still alive. Since Bluetooth music streaming was not working, I connected my AirPods Max to the iPhone using Apple's official $35 cable, and it worked. I'm not an audiophile, but the sound quality was actually very good, much better than expected. At 5:30 PM, the phone was still on about 75% battery, and I was quite surprised. I didn't get out of the house for the rest of the day since it was scorching hot outside. And at about 9 PM, I had enough of this experiment. Before removing the SIM card, I did a final check. Over 2 hours of screen on time, 35 minutes of calls, and around 60% battery remaining. Now you could look at this two ways. Either it's impressive that an 18-year-old iPhone made it through the day with more than half of its battery left. Or it's no surprise at all, considering I could barely use the phone. No apps, no modern functionality, of course the battery lasted. And honestly, both perspectives are valid. So I popped up the SIM card and inserted it back into my iPhone 16 Pro Max, and I got a 5G signal almost instantly. I'll be honest, the experiment was quite interesting. It was quite nostalgic at the same time, and it was also a good point of reference to see how far we've come in the past 18 years. It was also a good detox for myself, as I wasn't finding myself doom scrolling on Instagram or watching random TikToks. So the conclusion, is the iPhone 2G usable in 2025? Well, that depends. No, it doesn't depend on anything actually. It's not usable. Not at all. It will be a lot quicker for me to tell you what it can do, while keeping in mind that if it isn't on the list, it probably can't do it. So here's the list in no specific order. You can make phone calls, you can receive phone calls, although we don't know for how much longer as the 2G networks are being shut down all over the world. You can send text messages, you can receive text messages, you can listen to music over the headphone jack, you can take bad quality photos, you can check the time, you can set an alarm, you can record voice memos, and we are really scraping the bottom of the barrel here. You can use the calculator, and you can check the calendar to see what date it is, and realize it's 2025, and while fantastic as a collectible device, especially for an Apple fan, it's simply not usable today. But that doesn't take anything away from it. It's a beautiful device with fantastic craftsmanship and attention to detail. It was ahead of its time, and it will always be one of Apple's most important pieces of history, and I consider myself lucky to own such a device. And with that said, this was Dave on Tech, and I'll see you in the next one.